Hello everyone and welcome back to another Photo Mishmash. I'm Christina.
And I'm Toby.
And this is episode, actually I forgot.
72.
All right.
Rubberized for your protection. Warnings. Everybody, welcome back to another fun Photo Mishmash. This is that weekly live show that some of you don't watch live. I'm sorry about that. Where we take the week's photography news, rumors, discussion topics, topical ones like fall colors, how to shoot those. Mash it all up into a big ball and serve it to you. I'm Toby, photographer and educator.
And I am Christina. I'm a full-time wedding photographer.
That's right.
Yeah. And today we have some really exciting news today, actually. We have a couple of different things to announce. We are going to talk about some news. We're going to announce our Instagram winners from last week. And we are going to talk about how to photograph fall color. That's going to be part of our discussion today. To wrap it all up, we're going to answer your questions live at the end of the show. So if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. Our chat moderator, Roy, is going to be collecting questions throughout the show for us to answer later on. And then, if you're still around, we're going to go on to our after show, which actually we cut the after show out of the podcast. And if you are a Patreon supporter, then you can watch it later on. If not, then you have to kind of just watch it live.
You're hoping, yeah. You got to better hope you're watching it live right now.
Yep.
Something a little special we do. All right. Should we get right into In Case You Missed It? That's the first segment of the show where we talk a little bit about what we've put out over the last week that you might have missed. I think the first bit that's the most exciting is the updates to Lightroom. Now, most exciting if you're one of those Creative Cloud subscribers or if you're a user of the mobile Lightroom, iOS or Android. Both of those got fairly significant updates. They're very similar, Android and iOS app. I put out a video that showed some of those changes, so you can go take a look at that. Remember, all the show notes, links to everything we're talking about will be right down below this video or a link to that after the live show. And the big issue I have right now is that, and Android, Adobe is not being fair.
They're not?
No. They've given you Lightroom for free, you being an iOS user. Me, an Android user, I have to be a member of Creative Cloud.
Really?
I get a 30-day free, but otherwise, for you, it's completely free. What the what, Adobe? I have to imagine they're going to fix that soon. I can't. Why? What argument can you make to say we need to charge on this platform, but over on this platform it is free? Also, I didn't mention this in the video, but tell you all that the web interface for Adobe.Lightroom.com, I believe, you can edit pictures there. You can also drag and drop raw files onto the web browser and then edit them. It's decent. It's not as full-featured as the desktop. Oh, if you drink out of it, then you've claimed it and I can't drink out of it. It'll gross people out. So that's all nice. Somebody in the comments of the video said they think they're pushing this towards being more touch-friendly and something that can be used, the desktop version we're talking about now, on the touch, like the Surface or the Surface Book. Is that what Microsoft just announced? I think it's called the Surface Book, which does look very nice. The desktop upgrade is very minor. Dehaze is now a localized adjustment, and the add photo screen, the import dialog, you go through an add photo screen, which we feel like it's being dumbed down some and made more consumer focused and less prosumer or even professional.
Did you talk about all of this in your video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I don't think we should talk about it anymore.
All right. Well, I'll just kind of rehashing the important points that I wanted to share and see what people are thinking out there. So Trevor makes the point that Creative Cloud is so cheap it's worth it. I agree. $9.99 a month, you get Photoshop and Lightroom. That is a very good deal. I know some people are still really holding on to that issue of they don't want to rent software. I hear that too. But, I don't care if it's $1. Why do I have to pay when Christina doesn't? Not that she doesn't, because she also has Adobe Creative Cloud as well. But if she didn't, she would be able to, and I have to pay to get it. I'm grumpy. Oh, and also, what did they release? Oh, they've announced a bunch of other little Photoshop Fix is a new app that is Photoshop-like on iOS. And this, I didn't cover in my video, so I can talk about it now. And Premiere Clip, which is a video editing program for iOS. Neither of those for Android. And I'm grumpy about that too.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, to find out all of the details and go through, walk everybody through pretty much everything that has changed, follow the link down below to that video. If you're watching live, it might not be posted yet, but if you're not watching live, then it certainly will. So, great. Another thing that we wanted to remind you of, if you haven't watched any of the vlogs from Greece, we've been back for a couple weeks now, but they're still pretty cool. So, link also down below if you want to go watch them. Let's see. Oh yeah, and you did a teeny tiny video of a new gadget that you got in the mail this week.
That's right. This is the LG V10.
And you feel pretty special because nobody has it.
Well,
except a couple other people.
Other people have it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but it's not for purchase yet. LG was very nice to send this to me so that I could talk about it with you all. So those of you who know, I've been using the LG G4 as my main phone. Love the camera, mostly because of the manual controls, but also the fact that the phone, you can put a micro SD card in. Pretty quickly I was frustrated. I was like, why can't I manually control my exposure settings in video? Because the LG G4 you can't. You got all those nice controls in photo, but as soon as you switch to video, they erase and the auto exposure kicks in. The big headline feature of the LG, well, one of them, is of the LG V10 is the fact that you can manually control your exposure. So you not only do you have exposure compensation for video, but you can also set your shutter speed, your ISO. You can also dial in. It's got 3 microphones. I'll be talking more about it soon. It's very exciting. It's very nice to have these tools that I already have with me anyway, day to day, be a good tool to use to make quick videos, to take product shots, to take time lapses, because it has built-in time lapse. You can shoot just 1 frame a second. You can control the bit rate, although I have to say that the lower bit rates, it looks like trash, so shoot at the higher bit rate. But, and this might seem vain, but the selfie camera, which it has 2 of, a selfie, and I didn't make this word up, a groovy camera. It's a wider angle. They're both right here. You cannot manually control your exposure settings in video with these cameras. Only this one. That's a bummer because it is actually this one more often than I want, because if you've watched the Greece vlogs, we're recording videos like this, and if we want to turn and be backlit, and compensate for that, you can't do it. So that's a bummer. But it's still a very nice phone, and I am glad that at least with the front-facing camera, I have manual control now. So.
Yep. All right. And let me just go back and look at my notes here. Oh, and so we said last week that we're going to be at PhotoPlus Expo in a couple of weeks in New York City, and we're going to have a meetup. So for anybody who wants to come say hi, we would love to meet you. We are going to meet on October 22nd at 7 p.m. And we have decided...
What time?
At 7 p.m. At the corner of 10th Avenue and West 45th Street.
It's not too far from the Javits Center, and there's a bar right there on the corner too that seems pretty hip and cool. Maybe we'll check that out, but we also don't have to go in. We'll figure out.
We'll figure it out. We'll play by ear.
If there's 2 of you, we'll all decide among ourselves. If there's 10 of you, we'll all decide among ourselves what we're going to do. But we'll send that out in the newsletter. Make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter because a lot of good information goes out. And through the social media filtering, you don't always see everything. So that is at photorec.tv/newsletter. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Should you pause that?
And we're really excited about going there.
Yep.
And seeing what is going to be announced. Haven't heard anything major announcements. We'll touch on some rumors a little bit later, but I'm not sure we're going to see any major announcements at that.
What are you
Congress.
most interested in learning about or hearing about from the expo? Tell
right.
us in the comments. There's going to be conferences and seminars, and in addition to the big expo.
Right.
So
This is kind of the American version of Photokina. It's fairly large, happens annually. All of the big players and lots of the little players are there as well.
Yeah.
So it's good.
okay, now we're going to move to our gear on the table segment, which should be pretty short, right?
It should
This
be pretty
is all
short.
we're going to talk about.
Yes. Was that a threat?
Sure.
I just wanted to talk about this
Sounded very
briefly.
threatening.
I don't know if I'll get a full review out at some point, but this is the Peak Designs Capture Clip Slide Strap, and it's pretty nifty. I like Black Rapid, which is not this, for that ease of just sliding your camera up in front of your face, but it falls off my shoulder a lot. And I've tried the Brad strap, it's the Brad strap. It falls off my shoulder a lot, which bothers me. And so before we went to Greece, Peak Design sent this over. This is their smaller version, which I think is just coming to market now. It's mostly made for mirrorless, which works really nicely with the Sony. What I love about this system is that they give you these little dingle dongles. I don't think that's their official name, that are corded, and you can put them on the tripod plate that this system comes with. You can put them in the little eyelets of your camera. They're really pretty cool, and they snap in here to the tripod strap, to the neck strap so easily. I actually won't be able to do it like showing you that way, yeah. And then they're super secure. This is not a system I was worried about at all. This Peak Design stuff is really smartly designed. I appreciate that. I would like to get my hands on that new camera bag at some point too. I have to say the style doesn't really suit me, but it does look, again, very smartly designed. This little plate that it comes with is Arca Swiss style compatible, which is most of my tripods, including the Mi Photo, so I really appreciate that as well. But the one other thing that I wanted to say about that is this weekend I ended up having to take this off at the wedding and put it on another camera briefly because of poor tripod plate planning. And I ended up having to use my strap onto the two little spots that straps normally go on the camera. And I hate that. I don't know how any of you use a camera like that with the straps right on the side. Like where they're meant to go.
On the sides?
It's terrible. It is always in my way when I bring it up to my eye. It's always twisted around. It always feels clunky and in the way. And I don't feel like I'm being dramatic. I hate it. And this system is nice because you can link in at the bottom. Actually, what I've been doing usually is linking in one at the bottom and one on the eyelet on the side, so the camera hangs on the side a little bit. Now, it doesn't slide up and down quite as nicely as the Black Rapid, but I really like it. And if you want to know more information, I'll try to get a video out that covers this, because they also sent along the Peak Capture Clip that this pops into. And I have to say, I like that, except for wearing it for long periods of time. 8-9 hours. My hip does get a little sore if I'm holding a camera on there. And that's the Sony with the Sony lenses, which is pretty light. So I can't imagine really doing that with like the 5D Mark III and the 70-200. So, but I will be talking a little bit more about this, especially if you tell me you're very interested in knowing more. But mostly this is a PSA for you folks who haven't ever tried anything other than your normal strap right into your camera. There are such better options out there, and you should try them.
Yep.
Okay.
Gosh, we're already like 20 minutes in. I guess we started kind of
6:10.
All right.
Relax, Christina.
I
Relax.
just want to make sure we keep this.
We want to make sure that people know that we have the super duper exciting announcement.
Yes. We are going to be announcing that after we announce the Instagram winners. There's going to be so much excitement.
Stop your blabbing. You're slowing the show down.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to news. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is an article that Roy found for us. And it's pretty cool. He actually posted this on Facebook, and I saw it this week. It is from Petapixel, and it is a tutorial on how to Photoshop a landscape into a mind-bending world of angles. Mm-hmm. And it's really, some of these pictures are really cool.
They are. I saw this post too, and it caught my eye because it's different. It stands out some of the I think one of the things that helps these pictures is they're pretty neat pictures to begin with.
Yeah,
They're
that's
neat
true.
scenes. And then when you do this on top of it,
It's just really surreal
yeah.
and unique.
Yeah.
I've definitely never seen it before. Yeah, so go take a look at the article. There's a tutorial.
Tells you how to do it step by step. Christina, would you be doing this with a wedding anytime soon?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. It would be.
But it's cool.
It is cool. Would it be neat to print, like in a shoebox? I'm thinking of a shoebox There's some cat hair on the table. I wonder how that got there. A shoebox diorama like you make in 5th grade.
Shoebox diorama.
With this, where you print each of them and lay them on each of the sections.
That sounds really complicated. It sounds like I don't have time for that.
Wow. Okay. Yep.
Okay, next thing on our list is, I'm just going to...
When a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer is asked for free photos. This is the problem with, public. Well, the public is a problem. No, publicly asking, this poor person could have just emailed them, but no, they, out on Twitter, they said, "Hey, David Carson, may we have permission to use your photos on all of our platforms with credit to you, /St. Louis Post-Dispatch." And this is from a CBS, affiliate station. David Carson happens to be a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer for his coverage of the Ferguson riots. So he clearly takes some good pictures and knows what he's doing. He's like, no, you can't have my photos for free. I'm a professional. Your offer is insulting. And so they said, "Sorry to hear you took the request as an insult. For future reference, you can always respond with your professional fee." David took it a step further. Says, "Honestly, you're kind of tone deaf. CBS is a multi-billion company and you asked to use pics for credit. No. Are you working for credit?" We've touched on this in the past. There was an article we actually hadn't talked about, but I think a lot of people have been reading it. It's like, "Stop working for free." This guy's clearly a professional, and a professional at a high level, the Pulitzer Prize winning photographer, so he can clearly, quickly respond to this. But even if you're not a professional, when you have a multi-million-dollar company reaching out to you asking for photos, do not be shy about saying, "No, there is a cost to license my photos."
And I know that there is a fear, there's always this fear that if you say this is how much I want to charge, that they're going to turn you down and say no. But just be brave and do that anyway, because they definitely have the funds. And every time you say yes to free work, you're sort of undervaluing everybody else's work. So if every photographer says, "No, you have to pay me for my work," then they're going to have to pay for the work. So always keep that in mind. And I know that when you're starting, even when you're not starting, it's scary to say, this is how much I need to be paid, because some people don't have the budget, and then some people do have the budget, but kind of don't know the value of photography. So, yeah. Next story is from Mental Floss. Polaroid introduces a new camera that takes instant inkless pictures. So the idea behind this is that there is a particular paper that they are using that has cyan, magenta, yellow, and black pigments that are activated in the camera when you take the film, the paper is exposed to light, I guess. So interesting concept. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it still saves the images to an internal SD card in case you want to print larger versions of it. Looks kind of cool. It's $100, so it's not too expensive. The packets, I believe, are like $20. The film itself is like $25 for a 5-pack.
Yeah, 5-pack. Yeah, we can
it's
show
kind of
what this looks like.
expensive.
That's $5 per 2-inch by 3-inch picture.
It's pretty pricey.
So you're definitely paying for the immediacy of that. But it's pretty neat. We definitely see at a good number of weddings, folks have different versions of these kind of instant spit out a picture for the photo booths. Sometimes they're digital. We've even brought digital photo booths before, but a lot of people like the ones and you just print the picture out and you stick it in the little book. And this is neat. So it definitely works for things like that. And it's digital as well, so it can record the images to a little memory card.
Is your mic disconnected?
No, I just double checked. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. The levels look good. So, and I just moved it because maybe I had it off to the side a little bit. So I'll just try to project even louder so that Christina gets a headache by the end of the show. All right, the next little bit of news is that 500 Pix is unveiling later this week, although they're starting to give us a sneak peek, new profile photo page and Discover experience. I like 500 Pix. Somebody asked me this week, because I posted 2 or 3 pictures within the last week, how do I feel about 500 Pix versus Flickr? And for me, 500 Pix is a community of much better photographers than Flickr. Flickr is everybody, and that's not a bad thing, but I just, for me, has decided that 500 Pix is where I'll put some of my best photos. And I want to do a better job of putting my best photos there more regularly, so I have a nice record of the ones. They don't have to be the absolute best, but ones that I'm happy with each month, or maybe even each week. I don't post more than that. So it's nice to see these fresh redesigns. The one thing I don't like about 500 Pix is all of the boobies. Not because I'm a prude, but you go on there, and if you say, whatever it is, you take off the not safe for work search or whatever, and you say, show me all of the popular ones, it's all boobies. We've talked about this way back. Maybe it was the episode called...
it's not boobies, it's nude female.
Nude female.
Yeah. Which, we've had this conversation with friends before.
Well, we've even had this conversation on here a little bit
Have
before.
we?
We did. I think it might have been on the one that's the podcast called Sex Sells People. That was a quote by you.
Oh, yeah. So it's just a lot of them feel a little bit cheap and exploitative. They don't feel like they're really anything interesting, so...
Right. Without getting myself in trouble, I've got no problems with nudity.
Yeah, me neither.
I have problems with crappy pictures that just happen to be a naked person having a rating on 500 Pix of 98.
The thing is, some of these pictures aren't even crappy, though. They're some of them are nicely exposed.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind those.
They're
okay.
Yeah, but I do mind them because they're just. I do feel that pictures, even on YouTube. Okay, I'm just gonna go on a little bit of a rant here.
Do it.
I feel like on YouTube, the videos that get the most views are videos with pictures of females on the cover photo, especially if they're either partly naked or completely naked, or hinting at being completely naked. And it just feels like the people that click on those don't click for the actual content. They click to see that. And again, it's not about me having a problem with nudity, because I have no problem with it so long as it has a purpose, specific purpose, and it doesn't feel gratuitous. So anyway, that was just my little rant here.
Yeah, well, I have a less of an issue with the pictures that are well done, because at least the photographer knew what they were doing. They worked with light, but it's the one where you found somebody who's willing to get naked for you, and you literally took a snapshot, and now it has a 98 rating on there. And as somebody saying in the chat room, the popular category isn't very good in general because it's a lot of people gaming the system. Yeah, I'll say that. It's not really the best of the best. It is those people who have worked and made a network, and I've even seen that benefit me. I'm lucky enough to have this ability to say, look at my picture, everybody, and I can reach a lot more people than most people can. And so my Eiffel Tower picture got nice and high, and I was happy with that. Still didn't make it to the first page because it's not all boobies. There's some amazing photos on there, but it is a lot of people that have built up networks. It's who you know, or actually they should start changing that in some respects. It's how many you know, not who you know.
Right, how many, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not what the title Rubberized for Your Protection is about, though.
No.
It was the one article you took out, because we have a lot of articles.
Trying to condense the news.
Roy did a good job of putting a lot of stuff in here, and I've got Chris working on Nikon stuff as well. So there was an article about some guy who has taken the rubberized undercoating that you typically use on cars to protect them from the winter weather and the salt and the road bits, and he's put it on his Olympus lenses to give them additional protection and weather sealing, the headline said. But I have an issue with that because water's not getting in the parts of the plastic that he coated with rubber. The water's getting in your places where you zoom or the focus ring, where you have the gaps so that you can rotate. And those aren't covered. You can't cover those. He didn't cover those. But it does protect it much more from dings and bumps and things like that. So it's kind of a neat idea. If you've got cheaper lenses that you want to add a little bit more protection to because you're banging them around a lot, it might help. It might help.
Yep. All right, so moving on to our next story. So there's been a new patent by Canon for a tilt-shift mount adapter. I would love to see something like this because I kind of like the tilt-shift effect, but I am not totally ready to buy a tilt-shift lens because I don't feel like I would really use it that much. So if Canon can release an adapter at a reasonable price that I can just attach some of my favorite lenses to, that would be awesome.
Here's the catch though, is anytime you mess with this lens to sensor distance, you're introducing some issues. I mean, we put extenders in there to get much more macro.
That's why Canon probably do this like an extender, and it would introduce glass into it to correct for that.
Yeah,
so
you're probably right.
That's what I would guess.
Yep. So hopefully we'll see this at some point. It would be nice. How much would you pay for something like that? Tilt shift adapter.
Oh man, I have no idea. Maybe like 500, less than 500?
Not more than 500.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I would not pay more than 500.
For those, if you want to
for
see
that.
some examples of tilt shift in action, one of the later Iceland vlogs has that in there because Steve, who was on the Iceland trip, does a lot of interior real estate photography. He's got a 24 millimeter tilt shift, and that's the first time I've actually used one more than a quick snap, and it's a lot of fun. They're not cheap, they're very good quality, but they do have limited uses outside of real estate and architecture. It's very cool. You can take the focus plane. Usually your focus plane is, let's say I'm taking a picture of Christina and near focus, far focus, and you can just tilt it.
It's really cool.
So that
it's a
the
cool
focus
effect.
is shooting. It's just really cool.
We're going to move on to Sony is spinning off its image sensor business. I did not read that one, so that's on you.
Well, Sony is losing money in a lot of their big categories, like their TVs. You know, everybody's got a nice TV now. They don't need to buy new ones. One of their areas of business that has been very successful late is their image sensors. Nikon's using them. Sony's using them themselves in their cameras. I think there's some other people using them too, and they have a lot of industrial apps. So they're spinning this off into its own company that should do quite well. I don't know what else to say about that than that.
Yep, nothing much more to say. Mashable has a list of the year's best photography from travelers around the world. So it is October, which means there are like 2 3/4 months before the end of the year. So I anticipate seeing a lot of
listicles.
Best of.
I love the list. That might be one of my favorite things about the end of the year.
Yeah, me too, I think. So let's just quickly go through some of these.
Okay. Who put this together? Intrepid Traveler? Intrepid Traveler. Who actually, I don't know who they are, but I just thought there's some fantastic images in here. Arga, India, Grindwald, Switzerland.
Just amazing.
Pandang, Indonesia. And so as we talk about travel a lot with the McKays, you know, it's really neat to see these pictures from all around the world and take a little bit of, what do you call that? Inspiration. I don't know how to say this.
That's my favorite.
This is your favorite?
Yeah. I love those monkeys.
If only we could find a place in the world where there are kittens that bathed in steamy water in the sun.
I don't need kittens to bathe in steamy water. The monkeys are plenty cute for me.
Okay. A lot of great, fantastic images.
Just
Again,
amazing.
Just a reminder that all of the show notes will be... Oh my gosh, that guy is jumping, bungee jumping basically with vines. Holy moly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Show notes will be linked right down below this video so you can check this article out and lots of other articles that we're talking about. And some we skip over that are interesting, but we just we skip over them.
A startup uses photography to empower women around the world. So this is another article from Mashable, and it's a story about a woman who has started an organization that takes used cameras and used gears to organize and basically organizes photo walks around the world for women who in impoverished nations or underprivileged nations that wouldn't have access to this kind of gear and this kind of, I guess, just art form.
Right. I thought this was interesting because we see a lot of articles about a photo, empowering people or spreading information. But here we're putting cameras in the hands of somebody and empowering them through the act of photography, which I think is neat.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes from the article by the woman who started this organization, her name is Bonnie Chu, said she realized how photography is a universal language and can transcend cultural barriers. Because if you read the article, you'll find out that she had a chance encounter with some girls in Istanbul, Turkey, and they didn't actually speak each other's language, but they were still able to bond and make a connection through photography and communicate with each other through photography. So it's really cool. I don't think, oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. Neat. Sounds very good. Sounds like something that we could donate some money to at some point.
Or your old cameras. Donate
your old
cameras to it.
That's right. A lot of time we're trying to figure out what to do with them, and you can get so little for the old bodies.
Another Canon rumors article, Raycan Focal 2.0 finally released.
Oh, it is from Canon Rumors, but I will be talking about this very soon. They just sent me a activation code for this. This is the software that can automate your microfocus adjustments.
That's awesome.
For us DSLR users. So I'm really excited about using this. It works very nicely with the 5D Mark III and the 70D. Even with the 70D, it is completely hands-off. You just plug it in, USB cord, run the software with a target on the wall, and it does everything it needs to.
That's amazing.
To calibrate for your lenses. Why I'm thinking about it, oh no, I have it written down, so we'll touch on it again. So that's exciting, and I'll be bringing you more information about that soon. We got a lot to do. Holy moly.
Yes, we do. Okay, so I guess this is not the last one. It's kind of the second to last.
Oh, there's lots more, honey.
The White House White House photographer has been using the Sony a7R Mark II as their camera.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, it's neat. So this is Pete Souza, I think is how you say his last name.
I don't think he's working there anymore. I think he retired.
He is. No, it mentioned it's him. Isn't it? I thought it was still Pete.
I don't think so. I think he's gone.
Basis. Okay. Well, anyway, it was Pete. He was shooting with the 5D Mark II when they first started with Obama. Switched to a 5D Mark III in sometime 2012, I think they said. And now shooting with
A7R Mark II.
A7R Mark II and the 55mm f1.8.
Yeah, that seems like a really good combination for that type of setting, I think.
It is. I teased in the newsletter that went out today for people to come watch the show that I was going to start talking about my reasons why I don't think the Sony a7R Mark II is a good wedding camera.
So, yeah, stay tuned for...
I think I'm up to 5 reasons why it is not. Now, I'm going to continue to use mine at weddings alongside my 5D Mark III, but I do not recommend it. If somebody came to me and said, I'm thinking about this Sony for going in and shooting weddings, and I'd be like, well, is it your only camera? And they'd be like, yeah. I'm making up this whole scenario. And then I'd be like, well, I got 5 reasons why I don't think it's a great idea.
And you'll be talking about those soon.
Sometime really soon.
So.
Yes.
Okay, so last thing on the news that we were going to talk about.
Just say next thing on the news, because it just keeps going. You want me to just kind of breeze through this?
I would
first thing is,
yeah.
We've got some rumor information from Canon Rumors that they've come across some information that says the 1DX Mark II, which we don't actually know that will be its name, but the follow-up to the 1DX will be able to shoot 4K, but we're told not to expect a very video-oriented product, as the camera's primary focus will be the still photographer. That's fine. We're also told that this will be the only next-generation DSLR in the lineup that will shoot 4K at launch. I read that statement, and it says to me that the 5D Mark IV will not have 4K, which we've been going back and forth on the show for quite some time, and the last place I left it, hedging lots of bets, is 50-50 for the 5D Mark IV to have 4K. This kind of sounds like it's definitely not. Again, just this rumor. It says there will be another EF mount product sometime in the next 18 months that will shoot 4K, but it won't be a DSLR. Now, I'm not saying that if the 5D Mark IV doesn't shoot 4K that it's a deal breaker, blah, 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 but I do think that that is a poor choice on Canon's part. The 5D Mark III revolutionized video, or this jack of all trades DSLR that does both things so very nicely. Now the 5D Mark III has been surpassed in both photo and video, but it still remains an excellent all-around camera. But it sounds like the Mark IV is going to come out behind where other things are. So we'll see. There's a lot of other ways that Canon could bring it to the table and impress people. 4K video doesn't have to be in there. Sounds like it's not going to be. You can read more about that Canon. Now let's talk about some Nikon news. So the 200 to 500 is the big lens everybody's excited about. This is the f5.6 from Nikon. It seems it's got some focusing issues, and they've already had a recall. There's a bug that prevents you from using manual focus override if the focus button is depressed. And this is an article from Nikon Rumors. Now the early reviews of this 200 to 500 sound very good. And Chris, who nicely put this information together for me, thank you Chris, wonders, is this a good argument for manufacturers releasing more things like the Sigma dock? Because that Sigma dock is that little $50 piece of plastic USB-ness that you plug into your computer, you plug onto the lens, and you can then update firmware. And he has the 150 to 600 Sport, and he got a recent firmware release from Sigma that really improved the autofocusing, continuous autofocusing capabilities of that lens. Nikon and Canon, let's do it. I say yes. Chris is also asking if we recommend the Sigma dock for that fact.
I don't know. I mean, we had it for a while and we couldn't really figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, let's be completely honest. As far as updating firmware goes, works perfectly. But I also thought that it would be somewhat like that Focal software and allow you to do microfocus adjustments.
You know, the thing is...
I don't know why I thought that.
I don't think that you can... Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you could do that without actually having a camera on it.
Right, that's right.
Seems
I was thinking that as I was saying it. But it's still, I thought that it's two features where you could upgrade firmware and you could adjust its autofocus capabilities. And it has those capabilities in there for little sliders and stuff, but I couldn't figure it out. Simply, well, not simply, but complicated because it wasn't touched into a camera, changing the dials. So $50. If you want to keep your firmware upgraded, that's nice. $50 isn't bad. But beyond that, it does not have much, or I could not find much use. I hope a bunch of you write and say, you dummy, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z. But I poked it for a while, and I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, what's next?
Okay. We've got rumors of, where to go? Nikon's filed a patent for a full-frame 28mm f1.8 VR lens. So we've got a handful of kind of prime with VR lenses lately. Do you care about VR being in your prime, or IS as a Canon shooter?
Yeah. I mean, you know, having a prime lens that has a large maximum aperture would benefit from a little bit of IS, I think. If you could use that to your advantage in a dark situation to use the available light, take the picture and get a better still image, I think that's totally worth it.
What would you take? Would you take a 50mm f1.4 or a 50mm f1.8 with IS? Let's say they weigh the same.
I'm confused. Do you mean one 50mm f1.2 or one f1.4 with IS?
I said a 50mm f1.4, no image stabilization, or a 50mm f1.8 with image stabilization. Which would you pick?
Oh, I thought you said f1.2, sorry. I would pick I mean, if we could have the F14 with IS, that would be
That wasn't an option.
ideal.
Because a lot of these aren't quite as fast as
All right,
the
well, I
Sigma
would
Art.
pick the 1.8 because I would imagine that the IS would give me maybe a stop of light.
Well, it should be 3 to 4 stops. Most of these image stabilization systems.
Okay, then I would take the IS.
Okay, but remember, I mean you know this, but remember it doesn't help with moving subjects. So if you got somebody, like say our bride is walking through down the aisle.
Well, then I would just do what I do normally in that situation.
And
But
what-
if I can,
What do you do normally?
I would use flash if I need to, or I would sacrifice, a little the image be a little bit underexposed, and then use a faster shutter speed to be able to get the image. It's
Yeah.
even if it doesn't help with moving subjects, it's still
I also wonder on the video
would help in
end,
some situations.
if these guys are thinking about a lot of people shooting video, some handheld, and VR IS helps a little bit in those cases. I say a little bit because it's not as good as the in-body image stabilization, and even in-body image stabilization you don't want to handhold for a long period of time. If you need to shoot that style, you need a monopod or a tripod or something like that. So it's interesting. So we'll see. And DxO Mark has tested the 15 to 30 f2.8 from Tamron, which I took last March. I produced a review about that with my wide angles and found that it is now the wide angle zoom king on FX. Did they really find that it was better than Nikon's 14 to 24? Because I thought Nikon's 14 to 24 was just about as good as it comes. But
Okay.
I found the 15 to 30 very good. So
We're
good.
almost to an hour, so we should really wrap this
And
up.
Nikon's got some new trademarks for software that seem to be a better solution for sharing your images. I feel like they should all just give up and say, all right, just go share them on 500 Pix or Flickr or Facebook or what's the other one? I don't know. Why
Instagram.
do we need Canon and Nikon to have these own branded? How many pictures are there? What percentage? It's got to be ridiculously small. Focus on what you're good at or trying to be good at, making the cameras, making the software on the cameras better, and don't worry about this extra stuff.
Yep.
Let the other guys do that.
Okay. Can we move to photos from space?
Photos from. Can we do a little recording that plays? Or can you do like reverb real quick? Do you know how to do that?
No.
Photos from space. All right. Well, we are set for photos from space for now, for forever, if we wanted to be, because NASA has released every moon photo shot by the Apollo astronauts, all on Flickr.
They're so cool.
They're
You should
pretty
really
neat.
go look at these. They're
Is there the? Oh, sorry, my ear is itchy. Can we switch to this so that I can itch my ear? Oh, great. Do they have the EXIF information so you can see? So here they are. This
no,
is-
they're not going to have EXIF information. These were all taken with a film camera.
Dang it! They didn't have secret digital cameras. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Go look at them. They're really cool. Just as a series, they're really, really awesome.
They are. They're really cool.
And the next on the list was
I was still looking at them.
a NASA experiment is going to light up the sky with beautifully colored clouds tonight.
Oh yeah, if you're watching this, it's 6:54. If you are near Wallops Island, Virginia, you should stop watching us and you should go outside and look towards Wallops Island. They are going to shoot off a rocket that's going to leave some kind of crazy vapor trail that should really light up the sky. So, 7 p.m. is the launch time. I think they said the view area should be pretty huge from Delaware, Maryland, way on down to Virginia. Interesting fact, my grandfather on my mother's side used to work at Wallops Island. And my mom lived on Chincoteague Island for a while.
Okay, and that's it for news for today. So we're going to move on to our Instagram challenge. We're going to announce our winners. You guys submitted so many pictures this past week. I am guessing you guys all really like the golden hour, which I like the golden hour, so I completely understand.
Let me say something though. It was much easier for me to pick my winners this
Oh,
week
seriously?
than it was for black and white.
Not for
Here's
me.
why. And you might out there feel that this is unfair. But when I said golden hour, what I pictured in my mind is that moment where the light is golden and interacts with something, people or landscape or an object, and just wraps around, flows and wraps.
That's what people posted.
Well, I want to be clear, there are a huge number of amazing pictures that made me go ooh and ah in this group, but there were only a few that really hit what I was thinking in my mind.
Well, I just went for the ooh and ah guys. So.
Well, I mean, I said ooh and ah when I looked at these too. So we built that up enough. We always start with, well, we'll just start with me since I just got mine open now. Okay, we're going to do the reverse thing, the runners up. For me, my first runner-up is the KSO. They were taking a picture, and this pesky blue heron landed right in it. And this is just a beautiful image. Nice and golden, lovely. Thank you, the KSO. You did a nice job. Photo Samadhi has got these waves coming over a little bit of a pier. Again, the interaction of the light and the water down there, I love it. It's really nice. And
oh, I don't think I saw that one. That one's cool too.
Photograph Joe Hananunana has got this one here, just perfectly rim lit, and it looks lovely. And I might have not opened my, oh, nope, I did. My winner is this MKK0326 this is out in the Palouse, I think is how you say it, area of eastern Washington State.
I think that's my honorable mention, maybe.
I love this image.
A gorgeous image.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much. All right, let's get Christina's open. This is so clunky.
So Anne's photo of these buildings I thought was really, really cool. I really love that, you can tell that the sun is setting, but it's I don't really know how to describe it, but I just love that there is a good dynamic range in the entire picture. There's no overexposure, but you can still get the sense that the sun is setting. So the light is beautiful and soft, and the colors are great.
Yep.
So nicely done.
And you picked a slightly different one.
Oh, was it by the same person?
It is by the same person.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they had two in there.
So
this is very nice too.
Yeah, same deal. Awesome, okay. Awesome picture.
And this means your winner.
So I loved the geometry and the symmetry of this picture. I love just that tiny little spot that's being lit by the sun on top of that little hill. I just really, really like it. There's a lot of simplicity in this picture, I think, and those are usually the pictures that I love the most. That, there aren't super crazy intersecting lines, and it's all kind of compartmentalized into a very neat and structured kind of picture. So I really love this. It really stood out to me. So that's my winner for today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to everybody who participated. We went through and looked at all of them. I might, if I have a few moments of extra, I did a video of me clicking through every single picture. I might throw that up as a little video that plays back on the winners page, just to recognize everybody, because every image was good, but there were some that stood out for us. So thank you so much to everybody who participated. And next week's challenge, Christina, let the good people know what that is.
Reflection.
As voted on by our Patreon supporters. So if you would like to have a say in what each challenge is each week, you can become a supporter. We've got a vote of reflection. So let us see your best reflection photos.
Yep. And if you want to interact with us and follow us on Instagram, our usernames are down below. Mine is just my name, Christina Bernellis.
And mine is Photorec Toby.
Yep. And we look forward to seeing your reflection photos next week.
That's right. 1 to 2 images. And of course, if you come up with more, you can always go back. If you shoot a new reflection picture. It rains, and there's a puddle in front of your house, and a rainbow is reflected in it as a unicorn flies by. I guess that's actually like a unicorn Pegasus thing. And you take that picture, and you've already submitted to, go back and edit one of those other ones, just take the tag off of it. I get a little grumpy when I see more. I think this week was fantastic. I didn't see anybody who had more, so you guys are listening. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, it's time for our big announcement. You've waited long enough.
We have. Oh, we should have pretended like it froze, and then everybody was like, what's going on? Freezes enough. Hey, we should not run out of battery this time because it's plugged into the wall.
Okay, guys, here it is. So we have partnered up with our friends at McKay Photography Academy again, and our friends at Think Tank and Animals of Montana to give away a photo safari to Moab, Utah next year. And
well, we're giving it away this year, but the trip is next year.
Yes. So there is you'll also get a Think Tank bag.
You said, yeah. Yep.
As part of this. And so you'll get to photograph beautiful, beautiful Moab, Utah, but also Animals of Montana are going to bring some of their animals and trainers, so you get to photograph some really awesome animals in beautiful landscapes. So it's going to be amazing.
I don't know where to start talking about this trip.
Well, I think you should start by telling us the details of what somebody wins.
I get so excited because it is so fantastic to be able to give away an experience like this. And you get a nice backpack as well, but the experience of going to this place with us, I shouldn't say other, we're not technically master photographers, with master photographers, David, Allie, the rest of the McKay Photography Academy crew. It's just an awesome experience. You want to go to photorec.tv/giveaway.
Yep, the URL is on the screen. It's on the screen down below right now.
That's right.
And so what does winning this giveaway get you exactly? Can you please tell us?
Well, it gets you the workshop of the learning and the education that happens organically at these trips.
And you'll walk away with some amazing pictures that you can add to your portfolio or just print them.
Again, when I look back at my 500 pics, like my top pictures that I've made over the last year, most of them have been on these trips.
Yeah. So it's 4 days.
4 days.
April 16th to the 20th of next year in Moab, Utah. We're
going to Canyonlands National Park. We're going to Arches National Park. Animals of Montana is bringing several animals, including mountain lions, which will be jumping from like rock spire to rock spire. At least that's what they've done in the past. We can never guarantee exactly where they'll be jumping. But, so you get these awesome landscapes. You get these animals in these awesome landscapes for part of this trip as well.
You get a Think Tank backpack. You get your flights within the United States and your hotel accommodations included as part of this, as well as your park entrance fees. And
it's just an
seriously
amazing experience. Total retail package should be somewhere around $3,500. This is an amazing experience.
Or it's going to be for somebody.
It's going to be for somebody. Well, it's going to be for everybody who goes on the trip, but one person's going to get to win it. And so take a moment to enter. There is nice sharing capabilities in this new sweepstakes system. So you get 3 extra entries for every other person you bring in. And it works very well. I've tested this. It's a great system. So get out there, share with your friends, tell them to enter so that you can get 3 entries. And we hope to see you there in April. Contest starts right now and ends early December.
Photorec.tv/giveaway. Go there now, enter, share it.
So if you celebrate
Good
Christmas,
luck.
at Christmas you can tell all your friends you won.
That's right.
Or Hanukkah. Or anything else. All right? So we're really excited. Thanks to McKay Photography Academy.
Animals of Montana. Think Tank.
Everybody is awesome. And yeah.
We can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, basically you just pay for food.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a pretty freaking good deal. Okay,
John says if he wins, he's going to tick everyone off and use only his tablet for taking pictures. You know, if you wanted to do that,
that's fine.
we could have fun with that.
You know, the best camera that you have is, or the best camera
You have with
to
you is
use
the tablet.
is the one that you have with you, or something like that. There's a saying that works well in this situation. Okay, let's move on to our discussion. And we're going to try to keep it brief and go over, we're just going to do like maybe 3 or 4 questions this time and then move on to the after show. So we want to talk about shooting fall color. And actually, I'm going to sneak in a question from that I just saw posted on the chat by Keith Mitchell. And I don't know if you guys know, but the McKays are actually on their way here as we speak to Vermont to do a fall color tour this weekend. So colors are looking pretty awesome here in Vermont. In southern Vermont, they're pretty good, but once you get to like central and northern Vermont, they're like probably peak at this point.
Yep.
So
David was in the chat room earlier. I saw him briefly.
he was. He
Yeah,
may have
okay.
just boarded his next flight. So Keith Mitchell wants to know what the best locations in Vermont for fall photography are. So there's a lot. So Route 100 north and south is great, especially around Pittsfield. We're hopefully going to go to
Smuggler's Notch.
Smuggler's Notch, which is just this really cool like mountain road that has tiny windy roads, and it's like just covered by canopies of trees, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. And
I think we haven't been there in the fall, but I think it's probably going to be amazing.
Mad River Valley is fantastic.
So Waitsfield.
Yep, the town of Waitsfield.
Yeah.
You can email me, toby@photorec.tv. 2 other people have asked me the same question in the last like month, and I've written them a nice long response, so I can just forward you that as well. But,
Yeah.
For other people to know, it's fantastic here. New Hampshire's great too, the White Mountains, but Vermont is really nice. And Frank wants to know why we don't consider ourselves masters of photography. Well, that actually is a technical term where you can get certified from the Professional Photographers of America, PPA, as masters of photography. And David and Allie have done that.
Yeah.
We have not. It's a pretty arduous process. I'd like to do it at some point, but it's just not on my radar right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about shooting fall colors.
Yes.
What are you looking for? What sort of things will you be keeping in mind? I know that for fall colors, I think best time of day, this is kind of like a photography all-around rule, but best time of day is like sunset or sunrise, because the colors will be that much more intense and that much warmer and prettier. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The midday sun just washes out those colors and makes them look flat. If you are shooting in midday, a circular polarizer does a really nice job of bringing up the saturations in the colors, making that sky a little bit bluer and kind of cutting through some of that haze. They're great. UV filters, don't worry about those. Another thing, this is something I feel like I've struggled even living in this state. I don't feel like I've made in the last couple of years a scenic fall photo that I'm like, awesome.
Well,
but what I have done...
I think it's because, anytime that we're out driving, it's like to and from a wedding, and we don't really have time. Because the fall is such a popular time of year.
I feel like that's
for
just kind of an
weddings.
excuse, though.
Yeah.
But what I have made every year that I've liked is smaller detail shots, finding a leaf on a fern or caught in a stream. So don't be afraid. Don't be stuck on trying to say, oh, mountainside of color, I have to capture that. Keep your eyes out for these smaller details. Sometimes you can even make a picture happen. You find a beautiful leaf that's in the middle of the road, move it onto a birch tree. I've done that. Or collect several of them and make some kind of little design or array. Or I've seen this done on
use
Pinterest.
like an S-curve, or like use different compositional techniques. Like there's like S-curve, rule of thirds, and things like that. Don't make you could make like a heart. But the trick is just to like make a really pleasing photo with movement and stuff.
That's right. Yep.
Rainy days are also really good. So if it's raining, the rain really saturates the colors. This applies to summer too, but fall in particular, the colors really come out. So if you don't want to go out right when it's raining, then just wait till soon after, and colors stand out really well. The other thing that kind of goes with what you said about focusing on the small details is just don't just shoot the foliage itself, but observe how it interacts with its environment and its surrounding area. So, for example, maybe there's like trees framing a house, or fallen leaves covering a road, or leaves moving in the wind, and you can capture that. I mean, I think focusing on how the day that you're shooting in feels and trying to capture that really will help convey a story and a feeling, as opposed to just and it'll probably help you create more unique photos. So, yeah. And we're going to talk about some of our favorite editing techniques for fall foliage
in the after show.
So
Dan
stay
and
tuned
John
for that.
have trouble getting up early. Any recommendations for them?
No, because I hate getting up early.
I thought you were going to be like, tough tooties, guys.
No.
No, you sympathize with them.
Totally, yeah. I'm not an early bird. I don't get up early.
You don't get the worm?
I don't. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Yep.
I like eggs anyway.
I love
like worms.
I love getting up super early to do some exciting photography adventure. I'm very happy to get up at 4 a.m.
You've done it before.
I like to take a nap later. Yeah, I've done it before, and I've had amazing experiences. I was just reminded Time Hop, which I like Time Hop. It feels a little self-absorbed, but I was reminded that just a few days ago, while I was still working my day job, I got up super early and went for a morning hike near where I worked in southern Vermont, and came across a moose while I was walking.
That's pretty cool.
So that's the only time I've ever seen a moose person to person, not from in a car. There was that one time we almost hit that moose, but we didn't. I got no good pictures of this because I was following my circular polarizer rule of this moose. I had a circular polarizer on the end of my lens, and he moved on before I could get it off, and so I had really slow shutter speeds.
Yep.
That's why I'm not a master photographer.
But hey, tell us in the comments, do you have some rules or tips or anything that you can share with the community about shooting fall color? I'd be curious to find out some of your
And I just say
answers.
on it's like Donkey Kong, saying they get up early and they take too long to get out the door. The key for me is everything is laid out. Underwear on top of the pants I'm wearing, on top of the shoes and socks, and my camera bag is completely ready to go because it's dark inside the house. If I turn on the lights, it disturbs people and the cats and stuff, and so everything is just ready to go. The times I don't do that, it sucks, and I get out the door way later than I want to.
Yeah, that's like when you're really trying to get up early to work out. Some people sleep in their gym clothes because that way they don't have to dig around for them and get ready. I've heard of people doing that. I've never done that myself, but people do it.
Okay.
Okay, so that was our discussion. It was kind of short, but we're going to continue it in the after show. And we have 2 questions for this week. Roger wants to know what the point is of a time lapse on a phone. Where does the tripod attach? So do you want to talk to people about that a little bit?
Well,
You don't have your little...
I don't have my little doohickey
contraption
around. It's right down there. Well, the point is, again, for me, it is all about just the ease of use and connectivity. It's so quick to set this up. Now, I have a little thing that grips it, and I talked about it I'm pretty sure I talked about it in the grease strip. It's the ReadyCam smartphone tripod mount, ReadyCam. And it just holds it steady on a tripod, and it's so easy. It shoots a little time-lapse video, which is automatically a video on here. And there are apps you can get for your phone too, so if you don't have this phone, totally fine. And then you have a video, and I stick it in Dropbox, and 2 minutes later, it's on my computer ready to be pulled in somewhere or shared out somewhere. So that's why I like that. And I really appreciate these tools that I said that I already carry with me, getting more and more useful. I don't know if the 2 cameras is useful. The other thing, did I mention this? It's got a second screen. So there's a little screen here that is almost always on. And when the bottom screen is on, it will show you different things and be shortcuts. It's touch sensitive. It kind of sounds gimmicky at first, but it's quite useful. And when you're in video mode, that screen then holds you can see the little video. It's linked on the photo. It's not on the channel. It's unlisted video because I didn't think everybody would be interested in it, so it's only listed at photorec.tv. But it changes so that you can then control the camera easily. It gives you a little bit more. It's well done. It's well done. But here's what I need from you all, Android users. What is a decent video editor? I can't find one. They're all crap. They're all meant to like put frames on and put music on. I just want to be able to do some simple clips, drag this clip in, import another clip, shorten it, and I haven't found one that I think works well yet. So if you know of one, leave a comment right down below. And this is a good point to tell you, if you're enjoying this podcast, take a moment and hit that thumbs up button. And all of you nice people in the chat room right now who are leaving wonderful comments and thoughts and questions, if you've got anything particularly important to say, and it all is, leave a comment, because your chats go away after the live show's over. There was people are talking about breakfast.
One more question. That was kind of my fault because it's only Donkey Kong said that he might make like a microwave breakfast in the morning, and I said you should try overnight oats, which actually everybody should try overnight oats. Just put some rolled oats in some yogurt in the fridge overnight and eat them in the morning because they like soak.
I thought you were going to share your steel cut oats recipe.
Well, that's a little bit more complicated.
Oh, okay.
You bring the oats to a boil, then you let them.
After show, and you're talking about cooking oats. Come on now. Rose is moving this fall. She doesn't know if she's going to be able to get out and do any photography.
Aww.
Rose moving sucks.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it's always exciting. Like I hope it's exciting, the new place you're
but
moving
the actual moving sucks.
So.
Get friends and family to help. We didn't do that, and that sucked. Okay, Steven asks, what ISO for night photography starts to worry you? I'm constantly battling the aperture shutter ISO triangle. Camera is 70D. So, I would probably cap it at like 3200, maybe on the 70D, maybe like 2500.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go above 2500 if you don't want super grainy pictures.
Right.
The key though, and we're gonna make a short video about this because it's huge. The key to minimizing noise in photos is to have a properly exposed image. So even if it's dark, if your exposure is just slightly over the center mark on your meter, so if it's like, a third, 2/3, even one stop overexposed, it's going to have less noise than if it's underexposed.
So this
or
is the
even
exposed to the right that we talk about from time to time.
Yeah, so if your ISO is high, always try to overexpose if you can. And that will help you minimize noise. Because if you have a properly exposed photo, you have less noise.
Yeah.
So we're going to make a video about this.
And somebody asked me a very similar question the other day, said, how about, why don't I just underexpose a little bit and then boost it in post? No. As soon, and you've probably seen this, as soon as you start to raise your shadows in post, especially on a Canon, but on any camera really, you really bring out that noise. That noise that's hiding in the shadows, sticks its ugly little head out and says, boo. And so somebody else asked me, actually it might have been the same question. They said, well, what do you prefer? Do you slow your shutter speed and chance a blurry picture, or do you raise your ISO to get a noisy picture? And my answer always is go with the noise. Noise can be acceptable. Blur because of handshake or your subject being blurred and it's not creatively, that picture's worthless to me. Worthless.
All right, everyone, and that is it for today. We're going to move on to the after show right now. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a thumbs up. It helps tell other people that what we're talking about is worth listening to. And
hand me that little notepad right there, please.
Don't forget about the giveaway. So photorec.tv/giveaway to enter to win a trip to Moab with McKay Photography Academy, Animals of Montana.
Don't you love this little notepad? Right around here, Moab. Incredible red rock formations, the arches, canyon lands. I was there many, many years ago. Awesome. I can't wait to go back.
We'll be there. We want to see you there.
That's right.
So enter.
On this side of the list, this side of the paper is my quick notes about the reasons why the Sony is not good at weddings. I might read one or two of them in the after show.
No, you won't.
Aww.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. See you next week at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Great. You got it. Nerd time, accurate. Thanks so much for watching.